Who knows?
Who
Who cares? I don't
Who's
care.
to say?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to start the show, so let's just have that be the start of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Tougies Take Podcast, Summer Edition. As the three of us are finally reunited. Have we done a show? We have. We just did it last week. We've done one. Man,
Yes.
it's August 1st. This entire summer's been a blur. We've all been busy with some good shit, with some bad shit. It's been a time. It's been a time. But we're here to talk about hockey and a lot of not hockey because we have a big viewer questions section today.
Yes.
Endo Mills, you missed last week's show. How are you?
Doing better. I think I missed last week's show for hockey, and it was like a high level. It was like an A level skate. There were a bunch of senior A guys who played like senior A up in like the northern Ontario for some reason. They're in Toronto, and it was hilarious because the one guy just like he's clearly better than everybody else on the team, and he just starts bullying them. Just like, you know, those little sly little like notches, like just to throw people off their balance. He was doing that all game. I think he also like speared a guy in the nuts. So yeah, that's good. I had to deal with that during a hockey game, so that's fun.
Yeah.
How are you guys?
He sounds like a great person.
Yeah.
San, how are you?
I'm doing okay. Yeah.
Yeah. That's okay. We don't need a story about you run into any douchebags lately on or off the ice.
Nah.
What'd you guys do for your week? How about that? That's a good thing.
Streamed a bunch of NHL 23, much to your chagrin.
Gonna
That's what I've
go
done.
over the main and slap the fuck out of you. Jesus Christ. Give me what I want.
Oh, God. Look, NHL 2K10's a blast, but when you draw more people in July than some people get at the start of the year when the new game drops, you just got to run with that momentum, you know?
Yeah, you got a fair point there.
You got to do it. I don't know what it is, by the way, that
everyone's on franchise now.
Well, yeah, at the end of the year, that always happens. I mean, even, you know, that started really, I feel like a couple of years ago, especially when Sleeves started doing the, the Masters and trying to win as many cups as he could, you know, 5 years with each team and see what he could do. That was always a common thing I felt like in the last few years is people playing franchise at the end of the year. But yeah, now it feels like the vast majority of people are just like, I have no choice but to play franchise. I felt like Sleeves did it just because he wanted to have fun. Now people are just like, well, Eashel's dead, Hutt's almost dead. So
it was funny because this weekend I actually ran into him at the Raptors Uprising event he was hosting. He's does stuff with Raptors Uprising, the esports team for the Toronto Raptors for the NBA 2K. And we were just talking briefly about like how he just stumbled on doing like of his own version of GM Connected with season mode, and how he basically just sims the games like on stream. And I think people are realizing the power of watching games go by. And he's like, people love like watching this stuff. He's got like not record high, but he's got like pretty decent like viewership just to watch compies play. And I'm like, Tougie's been doing this for like a couple of years now, so like it's rubbing off on everybody. There you go.
It's my legacy is introducing the world of AI versus AI gameplay to the masses and its appeal on Twitch. But yeah,
there you go.
I don't know what's up with it, but yeah, people have been enjoying it. And then of course Madden is 2 weeks away from today, which I'm so excited for Madden. We have fun with that every year. Speaking of AI versus AI gameplay, I'm ready to see if we can find our new
versus AI gameplay.
Football's
easy to do like that. At least the way the game works, like or how the sport works.
I'm ready to see if we can find a new Colt who just heaves the ball downfield 70 yards every play.
That was a dope franchise. Yeah.
Oh, that was wild.
It was. So yeah, I'm very excited for Madden. Even if the game ends up being shit, we have fun with that every single year. So that'll be fun. So yeah, I don't know. I'm glad to know we're all doing all right and hanging in there. But I think it's time that we hear from our lovely listeners who have left a variety of questions on the Tougies Cafe Discord. Of course, link is in the description, whether or not you are listening on your audio platform of choice or watching on the YouTube side of things. And if you are, hi, I'm waving to you right now. You see it? Yeah, you do. If people on audio don't. Yeah. Anyway, let's get to these questions. We'll start off. Any question that was there, I put it in here. So, hey, we can, we can go ahead and shame people if the questions are bad. We'll see what's up. Our first question from Young Burrito. What is your favorite pepper? Well, I'm white, so I don't like spice.
I don't know. I'll keep it simple. Go with pickled jalapenos. I don't like fresh jalapenos so much, but pickled jalapenos are boss.
I mean, Tougie, you don't like any of the Spice Girls? Come on. Scary Spice. I don't know Scary Spice, which is really funny.
Well, that wasn't the question, but it could be the question of favorite Spice Girl. And I'm gonna go with the one that I don't even know. Now I'm sitting here trying to think. I pick a pepper for the love of God. I'm
trying bell pepper if you don't like spice.
Bell pepper, green pepper, red
Dude,
pepper.
Bell peppers are awful. They are terrible. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not the person to ask about peppers. Throwing that out there.
I wasn't really a pepper person until I started legitimately cooking more meals and everything and looking up recipes and finding out how to use peppers and all that. As a kid, I just didn't want to eat peppers, but now I'm like, fuck yeah, throw a little pepper in there, throw that in my chili, bam. And then put that in my fucking, more chili, bam. And then when I have pork, bam, throw that in there as well. It's great. My favorite pepper, in terms of spice, would probably be just a classic jalapeno.
If I had to choose, that's probably what I would go with too. So
yeah,
we'll disappoint some people that are big on spice, but it's not me.
I like spice, but I don't know all the fucking peppers. I like hot sauce. I don't care what's in it as long as it tastes good and it gives me a little kick.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, that's all you need is a little kick, right? I don't need to be eating something where it's all right, I got to chug milk for the next 3 hours because my insides are burning alive.
I don't
no
go
ghost
that
pepper.
Crazy, but I'll get atomic pepper. Wings from Wingstop. I'll test my palate like that. It's not even that crazy.
Test your palate or test your bowel movement at that point too.
I mean, hey, it's just it's a part of the system. You got to make sure you can handle it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a question. Question number 2 from RG Dust. Thoughts on Twitter's rebranding?
You mean X?
X.
The X. Bank. We are all X-Men. There we go. What was the fucking branding name? The slogan? It's blaze your path or whatever.
Blaze your glory is what it is on the App Store.
That's the kind of shit that
when he doesn't have fucking wranglers telling him that this is a shit idea. Because every other company he works for, there's there's essentially hierarchies and teams in place to prevent his what?
Checks and balances.
Yeah, there's all these hierarchies to prevent his ass from doing stupid shit. I mean, he was kicked off PayPal for this exact idea. And the man his little ego couldn't let it go for so long. And you want to know how fragile his ego is? You cannot add Twitter to your name, by the way.
Yeah. I feel like my thoughts on the individual behind said platform is it's pretty well known at this stage. He can do whatever dumb shit he wants to do. I'm still on the platform because it's beneficial to me. He might benefit from it too, but I'm benefiting from it more, especially not paying for Twitter Blue. Or X, is it X Blue now?
Yeah, I don't even know what he's going to call that shit.
Let's see right now.
It still says Twitter. I just checked on the website. It still says Twitter Blue.
Twitter Blue.
Fucking A.
He's going to come back. It was just a joke, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he says he's going to say I miss my ex. Or some stupid shit like that. God, he's so corny.
I'm just trolling,
gambit, sir.
Again, I've said it before, and I will say it again. The world will be a better place without him.
Yeah.
Because I cannot. It's not often you can find someone with that much potential to make such a positive impact on the world who has such an ego that he will completely throw it away on superfluous shit like this rather than actually doing something positive. Oh, but what about this? What about that? We're talking more about what he could be doing, you know? Oh, but there's a car. He put a car into orbit. Yeah, that's a real positive impact.
Yeah, just throw more trash into the fucking space. Man, I want to be like Simpsons did, but Futurama did it, where they took all their trash, you just threw it in the fucking space, and they just dealt with it later. Like,
yeah, and then they had that episode. They had to blow it up like it was Armageddon.
Yeah.
There was a big trash droid towards her.
Trash the.
Oh God. Yeah, fuck Elon Musk. From Ender, what was your first hockey stick / goalie equipment? In brackets for Endo, because he is a goalie IRL ? In fairness, I think outside of the brackets, I think it was a general question, but it was just the way it was it was written. It's like, is Endo a goalie? Is how I read it the first time, but he did it correctly. Does Endo is
goalie? Does has to know. Just for me, or for all you guys, like
all of us. So Endo, you go first though. The goalie of the room.
So it's really funny that I didn't buy my first set of equipment until I was. God, the first set of equipment I bought was when I was like 18. Up until then, I was using rental stuff from the local rink, and I was kicking ass with it. I was using like the old school Cooper pads until I was like 17. So like I was looking like goddamn Dominic Hasek out there with that, like the certain style I had to play like that too. But for player stuff, because I started playing as a skater, I got the Nike starter pack. It was when Nike was still doing hockey, and like just before Nike Bauer, and they had like a starter kit when you were a kid, and you had like they gave you the shin pads, the elbow pads, which were small as shit, and like pants, just the whole starter kit and everything. And I had this old Nike Bauer helmet, and then I had a shitty wooden Nike stick, and it worked for me because I couldn't skate, but you know, that's what I had to first start out. And then I had like Nike skates and all that. I was dripped out in Nike, everything Nike. Yeah.
For me, I'm going to take this literally with the first hockey stick, and it was the Franklin branded mini sticks, the plastic sticks.
Oh my God.
It was black with a blue blade, and what we would do when I was a kid was the apartment we had at the time, and I mean I'm talking like I'm 3 years old, and you know the subsequent years, we had a hallway that led to the bathroom. So my dad would stand at the edge of the hallway, and I would stand on the bathroom side playing goalie to not let him shoot the ball into the bathroom. I still have that stick too. I don't know if it's here or if it's at my parents still, but that stick is still alive and well. Very worn down. Like the blade at this point has thinned out and worn down so much. It might be the width of like a common ruler at this stage.
My God. This reminds me of when I was a kid. There was you know, like you use your stick for ball hockey and that shit just winds down completely. There was a point where like someone had a stick that was like, hold on, I gotta get representation here. It was like the width of my finger was the blade, and that's maybe like an inch and a half. That's how much blade he had to like play with in ball hockey. It was super thin, and he would still snipe goals. I'm like, how the hell are you doing this with like? It's not fair at all.
It's muscle memory at that point.
Yeah.
Sin.
Yeah. Shit. It's actually, I can't remember the exact one, but like one of my earliest ones, I remember it was a coho, like a good like coho. But honestly, I think I had one of those like street hockey sticks with like the blade on it was like plastic or something with like those holes along the top of it. And
Oh my
similar
God.
thing, it's like you play street hockey so much, like the blade just keeps shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. Like, yeah, it's because I played outside with like a few like neighborhood friends. Actually, I still hang out with one of them to this day, as he lives in near where I do now.
Nice.
And we, yeah,
For
dude,
now.
we played street hockey like every single day of the summer. If it was like too hot, we'd like go inside. And I think at that point when we were doing that all crazy, it was like NHL 06 on game. They had GameCube, so we like go inside and
Dude.
play like Super Smash or NHL
Oh
06
my
on
God.
GameCube.
Oh my God. It just give me a flashback. One of my close friends, we used to play NHL 06 on the GameCube as well. His TV was like, you know, one of the old, like, small, like tube TVs, like the ones that like people nowadays only play because it's the only one that gives you like a true output for whatever input or whatever, like the resolution. The color was distorted on the TV, so I had no fucking clue how the game actually looked. It was just like weirdly like bluish and like distorted. I'm like, oh, this is NHL. I guess like the visuals suck that much. And then like maybe like a year and a half later, I plug it into my actual GameCube and look at it, I'm like, holy, what the hell happened? Like, it's just crazy.
The good old days.
Yeah.
The good old
I had to
days.
pay taxes when I was fucking 8 years old. Yeah.
Fucking tax man coming after me. It's bullshit.
Yeah, I don't pay it. For legal reasons, that's a joke. That's a joke. Don't worry about it. I pay my taxes.
This comes from Tom, aka TJM. Long-time listener, first-time questioner. Out of all of you, who has the best puck doku uniqueness score?
Tougie,
How does the score work?
Okay, so
Because mine is 0. Because I've
'Cause you've
never
never
played
played.
Puckdoku.
Puck doku is a lot of fun. Like, I'm not the most avid player in the world. Like, there are obviously some days that I will forget, but Sin, I'm guessing you at least know the basic gist of the game.
Yeah, it's like tic-tac-toe board, 3 across, 3 down. You have to match with each thing.
Yeah. So like
Like, you have
today
to fit
is
into
it's
both
like
categories wherever the thing is. Yeah.
like today it was like name a player who played for Anaheim and Ottawa, and it's like, all right, Danny Heatley, because obviously, and you will get
When the
a
fuck
percentage.
was he in Anaheim?
Oh, he was in Anaheim at the end of his career, like 2015.
What?
Yeah.
See, I suck at this. I just forget.
chasing the cup.
So, like, you have that as like, okay, 11% of people had the same answer. So the lower percentage you have, it tallies up the percentage of each player in the 9 spots, and then you have your score. So like today too, it's like you had to name a member of the LA Kings who also played for Team USA. So I went for Jeremy Roenick, which is a 1%. There is a bug in here.
Oh, that's hilarious. That was only 1%. I guess people forget. Like, how could you forget he was there? You did that dancing on ice shit.
That's exactly why I remembered. Yeah. So it adds up the 9 percentages and gives you a score. I am decent at the game, but man, it's one of those things where it like gridlocks my brain, and it gets so difficult to properly think of answers. Like, I have some really good scores, but there's a difference between a really good score for me and a really good score for some other people. And the first person who always comes to mind for me, as you might expect, is Snipe and Score. Of course, Snipe and Score Productions on the YouTube side of things. He does, of course, a lot of the custom rosters. People listening to this will know. For example, today, his uniqueness was an 8.
Jesus.
Because you can get like 0.4s and stuff like that. So because of all the fucking work he does with flashback rosters, he's just got an encyclopedia of names up there. So for example, I used mine of like, Anaheim, Ottawa was Heatley at 11%. He used Ted Drury at a 0.1. His highest percentage today, he had 2 different 2%, which was Bill Guerin and Guy Hebert for Team USA representatives. So yeah, he ended up with an 8. People like him are an absolute freak, man.
Guy
Like,
Hebert was fucking USA. I figured he was French Canadian. His whole
Exactly. It's ridiculous. Like, he used I don't even know who this guy is, and he's wearing a Bruins goalie mask but for LA and Ottawa, a goalie named Daniel Barthumé. I have never heard of this person in my life, and it's like, again, there are some people out there who can just go with these fucking crazy answers, and I don't know how they do it.
This reminds me of, there was a tweet that came out last year, and it was, men will literally sit around and name random sports players for 2 hours instead of going to therapy. It's just Puck Doku in a nutshell right there.
Yeah, can't disagree with it. So, Endo, did you mention that like a half decent score, or is it something where you're just like, that's I'm not good at it?
I got sub 100 and I had a party.
There you go. That's the way to do it. From AJ, who would win in a fight, Godzilla or Charizard?
Fucking Godzilla. What is this? Charizard's like 6 feet tall. Godzilla is as tall as a building.
I thought you were gonna stop at God. I'm like, oh yeah. God
like,
himself.
Charizard's listed height
up and fucking thrown.
Charizard's listed height is 5'7", 200 pounds.
Coming in at 5'7", 200 pounds, Charizard. Coming in at 15 stories and 20,000 tons. Fucking Godzilla, who shoots lasers out of his eyes.
Freaking laser.
Do your little fucking flamethrower, Charizard. It'll tickle him.
Ah.
It's really not even a question. Like, his name is Godzilla. He's the king of the monsters. Come on now. Ridiculous question. Ridiculous.
Charizard's only 5'7".
That's what a Google search says. That's what bulbapedia.bulbagarden.net has to say.
That always gets me.
Charizard could maybe beat up Johnny Goudreau because they're the same height. Charizard couldn't fucking touch me.
Once a flame, always a flame. Johnny Goudreau. Let's go.
That's no play on fucking Tinder.
Ridiculous. Dude, I'm looking at Godzilla's listed heights. And obviously now a fucking Pokemon nerd could be like, but what about Charizard's big evolution thing?
What
Charizard's big bean burrito.
Charizard's the max evolution. Don't at me.
Oh, God. Godzilla has multiple different heights that are all measured in meters, by the way.
And he always comes to America, too, so.
Oh,
yeah.
Besides the OG who started in Japan. I don't think Japan uses
a kilometer.
metric, though. Do they?
I think
I
everywhere but here uses metric.
Yeah, that's why the memes, the fuck's a kilometer. Like, that's where it comes from.
Metric. It's called Imperial System. Like, I remember the 40s. Maybe they were...
See?
Sid wearing his
see?
Maybe
fucking
when
top
they're
hat
actually
monocle.
Imperials.
Oh, God. All right, AJ. Well, there you go. You got roasted like you deserve to. From Tomas. Did any of you ever own or play Backbreaker football? I never owned a Madden game.
Oh, yes! Yes!
I've never even
Backbreaker!
heard of this.
Oh,
Go off,
yes!
King.
Oh, my God. So Backbreaker was one of those, like, spin-off football games. It was super intense. They had a mobile game, and I think that, like, kind of... The fuck? Oh, that's my cat. It scared the fuck out of me. And they had this mobile game as well where you used to like you lean and go on your phone to like dodge incoming like rushers and stuff like that. And it was like Gauntlet. But the actual game itself was like regular football, except your perspective when you're on the offense is like above the guy's shoulder, like a third person view. It was so sick. It was so cool, and then it fucking died. It's so tragic. It's like that, and I think it was called Pure Football. It was or Pure Soccer. It was another like take of what if soccer played like without the rules was you could be extra aggressive kind of thing too. It was something else, man. I miss Backbreaker.
I would just turn off the penalties in World Cup '98.
Just
Want to know
break
how the last time I played a fucking soccer game or bought a soccer game? Team Yugoslavia was in it.
Yugoslavia.
Yugoslavia.
Oh, God.
Oh man.
So Backbreaker, I've never played it, but I have seen videos about it. It was a really interesting game in that it was like its big selling point. And again, you're talking about a game that was like prime PS3 360 era. It came out in 2010.
Everything's dirty. Got the piss yellow filter on everything.
Yeah,
God.
I mean, every time I think of a 360, I just see Gears of War and the grain filters every time. But
oh my God.
Backbreaker was interesting because it ran on a Euphoria engine, which I'm not sure how many other games. Oh, yeah, that's right. It was the Grand Theft Auto 4 engine, and I think Red Dead Redemption as well. So you have a sports game using Rockstar's engine essentially. So it, like, the physics of the game and the tackles and stuff like that were very natural, not animation based. So to this day, it still probably has the best example of tackling in a football game. Yeah. But it is very jarring for people to play because, like Endo mentioned, it's constantly like you think of Madden and you snap the ball and it's the quarterback and you get the view of everything. But the second you snap the ball in this game, you are in a third person perspective of whatever player you are in control of. So you have to try. It can be a little bit difficult to like read the throws downfield because you don't have that top down view. And defense, it's like you're doing the like the position lock that you can still do in Maddens and have been able to do. So like I said, super interesting game, very much of its time, but definitely one to check out. Like I said, I've never played it myself. I have watched a lot of like gameplay footage of it. Like I know somebody this past couple months ago did a simulation of I think it was the PC version, or maybe they were using an emulator for the game, and they made the Chiefs and Eagles and simmed the Super Bowl in Backbreaker. I remember seeing that video, and I'm actually watching it again right now, and it's a super interesting game. It's still kind of like at the tail end of getting a lot of non-NFL branded games, whereas today it's like outside of Maximum Football, there's really not too much out there for non AAA
I saw
titles.
A Twitter ad for some football game, but I don't remember the name because I block all Twitter ads.
Good. And then now you got to start blocking all the X ads. That's how he's gonna get you.
Oh no! See, I've been getting like I've blocked so many accounts advertising on Twitter. Like all I'm getting now is like crypto scams.
Yep, me too.
Yeah,
me too.
I'm like, oh, cool. There's a blue check I could block without having to look on a thread.
I still get promoted ads for, hey, you want to buy this monkey JPEG in 2023? It's like, no. I
have a thing set up so it automatically blocks all crypto accounts, which is fucking beautiful. And I'm gonna do that too with blue accounts, but then like some people who I genuinely like have blue, so it's like, yeah.
So yeah, some of them like won't block people who you actually follow or something like that, but
yeah.
From Bouncy McBoink, we've definitely had this question before, but like I said, I just went ahead and added them. Who's one player who has played for your favorite team you'd want to have dinner with? Also, what are you eating and why? I'm going to go for shawarma with Patrice Bergeron, just because that sounds like a fun story.
Was this like a what are you eating right now kind of question? Because I'm eating fucking...
No, although you're always eating.
If you could share that ramen with anybody.
No, I'm just saying, on podcasts. I mean, it's very rare that you're not eating while we do this.
Yeah, it's mostly because I'm super fucking busy and I hate myself. But trying to think, who would I want to eat Mr. Noodles with? That's like who's the weirdest person? Ilya Brizgalov.
He didn't play for the Leafs though.
No, because fuck you. I'm bending the rules. Suck my dick. You heard?
It literally says a player who's played for your favorite team.
Oh, okay. Okay, never mind. Not Ilya Brizgalov. Who's weird? Who played for Leafs?
Mitch Marner hit the gritty at a wedding.
He literally hit the gritty at the wedding. Oh my god. Yeah.
Paul Marner was seen in the background punching the wall.
You're not focused. This is why you fail.
I'd say who's interesting? Leo Komarov.
There you go.
Off the
Leo.
board.
Uncle Leo would. He'd enjoy some good noodles, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Sen, you got an answer for this one?
Yeah, Curtis Gabriel.
That's a good one.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. And they're good noodles, and it's a great way to stay in shape. From Bud Knight. Oh, God, you guys are fucking killing us with the repeat questions here. But whatever, I'll allow it. If you could go back and revisit a single historic sports moment, be any moment, and blah, 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 blah. What moment are you going to revisit? For me, he says the 2010 Golden Goal game. Canada over USA. Historic sports moment. Can I think of one that's not the Bruins winning in 2011? Let's go with. I don't know. I got nothing. I swear to God, I've seen this question a dozen times over like the 3-year history of this podcast.
Yeah, I'll go back to 1989 when the A's won the World Series against the Giants.
There you go.
I'm gonna go.
See one of my fucking teams win a championship. I mean Packers, but
Golden
I mean like one of my like local teams, I guess.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I'm gonna go golden goal, 2010 Olympics.
I thought you were going to go back to 1967. Long
That's
way
gotta be
back.
the most boring fucking hockey being played. It's that old footage of shit. I don't think it's slowed down or anything either. I just think that's how slow they are. Yeah, come at me,
Actual
boomers.
speed.
Come at me, boomers. The game sucked back then, and it's better now.
Yeah, it doesn't help
Don
that people
Cherry
like.
punching the wall.
Hey, there's that pink gold dollar against change. Oh boy.
Yeah, what he said. What he said. Our final question comes from Wheelchair Hulk. Either your own team's prospect or just a high-end prospect in general that you thought was going to be a star that never panned out in the NHL.
Tyler Biggs. We had Biggs plans for him.
Boo.
Shut up.
Then you got one.
Trying to think. Maybe Nikolai Godolbin.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I mean, Sharks and Canucks fans thought he was gonna work out, and it didn't really happen, did it?
We can fix him.
Yeah, the technology.
He was super skilled. He just had nothing else. I was like, oh,
I mean, that's all it takes, right? It's just to have some skill, and
he'll develop
nothing
the
else.
rest of his game. Nope.
Oh man, there's just so many. You know, it's funny. Just thinking about the draft, like I was going to bring up today. I saw a lot of posts in the
Which
past
draft,
couple days.
Tougie?
I know. I saw a couple of posts. I'm trying to avoid that. Thank you. To make Endo sad, I saw a couple posts. People were celebrating the 18th anniversary of the Leafs drafting Tuukka Rask in the first round.
Oh.
Yeah.
18 years. 18 years. She got one of your
Yes.
kids, got you for 18. Okay, yeah.
18 years, because that's the anniversary to celebrate the 18th. Can I avoid saying the 2015 draft? Well, I just said it, I guess. So there we go. It's out there. Someone who I thought...
Ring the bell.
I mean,
Ring the bell. 2015 draft.
Give it up for day 19. God. It's tough because I'm trying to think, like, so much of this is intertwined with the video games.
Right.
Because I'll think back and it's like, all right, the 2008 draft, Nikita Filatov went 6th. And you play the NHL games around that time, and Nikita Filatov is like a must-acquire player because he's going to be a star. But if you separate that from... I'm just having a difficult time kind of separating that from, like, real life expectations. And that's where it gets a little bit difficult. I mean, I do want to go with the boring answer too of Nail Yakupov, because I did honestly think he was going to be a good player, and then he wasn't at all. So, and then if you go Boston centric, there were some years, let me tell you, of Bruins players who I thought would be great that did not develop. I want to shout out their first round pick from 2005, Matt Lashoff,
Oh
who I thought was going to be awesome. And he wasn't. He wasn't, unfortunately. There was me hoping and praying that Zach Hamill would be good, because Logan Couture was selected the very next pick after him. Joe Colborne, Jordan Caron, Alex Kovalchev was up there for the Bruins for a real lot. Ryan Spooner, although in comparison, Ryan Spooner was a little bit better. Seth Griffith.
Yeah, I remember I used to pick him up in a franchise mode like way back in the day and develop him into like a second liner.
Yeah.
What his potential was. And then I just like saw him on like some random AHL roster when I was like doing something like, oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Peter Solaric, Jakob Forsbacka Carlson.
JFK, man, yeah.
There's a long list of, oh, here we go. The Bruins have young skill, and it just never works. Except for when it does, it works out really well. But if it doesn't, oh man, it doesn't work out well at all. So, yeah, there you go. Thank you, Hulk, for the question. Thank you, everybody, for the questions, except for AJ. Charizard's dead before the fight even starts. How dare you? How dare you? Listen, gentlemen, over the past week, there have actually been some hockey things to talk about. Not Erik Karlsson getting traded, because that's a myth at this point. I am convinced
he's busy.
He's not actually getting traded.
He's busy. I don't know if you saw my tweet, but he exists in the Warhammer universe.
Does he?
Well, kind of.
Did you make him exist in the
No, there's this it was a random like one of these like rogue fucking armies run around for chaos. So they all have like Nordic names, and his name was like Eric, spelled EIRIK, I think, and then it was Karlsson, like KJA. It was fucking amazing, man.
I'm looking at it right now. Oh God! So that explains it. He's just been too busy.
He's just been busy shitting on humans,
as he
burning
does
their cities.
I don't know if,
shitting on him like he shit on Phil Kessel.
There you go. He's living up to his Viking heritage, I do suppose. But there were some things that actually happened, and we can get into talking about a few of them. The Ottawa Senators signed Vladimir Tarasenko to a one-year deal worth $5 million. Andy Strickland mentioned, reported for the Blues typically. He said, was told Tarasenko had a 4-year offer at 5.5 from Ottawa early in free agency. He also had a 1-year offer from Carolina at 5.25 and a 1-year offer from San Jose at $6 million. It is worth noting as well, he fired his agent during this free agency period. So I like San Jose, I mean, is where you go if you want to like kind of rehab your image a little bit. And it would have been a nice landing spot for the Sharks, because then you just flip them at the deadline. Easy enough.
Yep.
That would have been a good deal for them. For Carolina, I mean, it's obvious. It's just the idea of the Carolina Hurricanes are continually going for it, and Tarasenko would certainly help with that. Ottawa is in that really interesting spot of, and I'll throw this out there. I have seen a whole lot of Twitter debate and discourse over just how good the Ottawa Senators will be, and especially a lot of back and forth between Sens and Leafs fans in regards to just how good the Sens will be, because there are a lot of Sens fans that are now buying into the hype that this could be a very, very good year for them. If it isn't, though, Tarasenko's a movable asset at the deadline if the season doesn't go the way they want it to. But right now, Ottawa lines up like this. Again, according to Cap Friendly, as of this past Thursday, which would have been July 27th. Top line, Brady Tkachuk, Tim Stützle, Vladimir Tarasenko. That's very good. Can't argue with that. Second line, Claude Giroux, Josh Norris, and Drake Batherson. Also think that's very good, especially if Josh Norris can stay healthy. Again, he's coming off of a season where he only played 8 games.
Oof.
Dominic Kubalik, Shane Pinto, Matthew Joseph, also pretty strong. And then Parker Kelly, Mark Kastelich, and Zach McEwen. Very, very gritty.
I guess. You got grit and then 2 names. You just
Who the fuck is that guy
in there?
Yeah.
I know McKinnon had no I don't know. For me, I'll believe it when I see it from Ottawa. They've been hyping themselves up for the last 3 years, man. We're a playoff team now, and then they get absolutely decked. Get Giroux.
We're a team.
Like, okay, I can see it now. They get absolutely shit on.
Yeah,
but we had injuries. Depth.
No diving in the shallow end. Jesus, come on. Pool 101.
Their defense, Shabbat Chikrin. I like it. Sanderson Zub. And Eric Brandstrom with Travis Hamonic. Their goaltending, Jonas Korpisalo and Anton Forsberg.
The carousel continues.
Yeah. Of course, what was it? 4 years, $4 million for Korpisalo?
Yeah.
A little bit hefty.
That's very hefty. He better pan out.
I forgot he was on Ottawa.
Yeah, that was one of the more bizarre free agent signings, I would say.
Also, fun fact, apparently Polina grew up with Artem Zub. They're both from Khabarovsk. And they played on the same team together because she played on the men's team because they didn't have a women's team because Russia. Yeah, fun fact.
Free tickets to a Sens game for an old friend. Let's go.
I told her, like, listen, hit him up. Be like, hey, how's it going? Like, you live in thing? Oh, wow, I live in Toronto. My boyfriend plays hockey, too. Give me free tickets to watch your games, please, por favor. Хорошо.
I mean, there's a benefit to having no shame in those situations and just being like, fuck it, I'm going to ask. What's the worst that happens? Someone who might have forgotten that I exist now thinks I'm a douche? Oh, well. Who cares?
It's funny because her one thing was like, "Oh, should I know him?" He'd always make funny faces at me whenever he would shoot. I'm like, "Well, that's a thing."
That's a story.
There you go. Bam.
Yeah, you can make the most of this. It's like, hey, remember this great friendship that we had? You made funny faces. We both escaped this living nightmare of a country. Look at us now.
Look at this. Look at us. Who would have thought? Not Putin.
God. Overall, I do think the Ottawa Senators could be decent, but that Atlantic Division, we're going to talk about the Bruins in a second here too, because some things happened with them. The Atlantic Division is again going to be an absolute nightmare because you are talking about essentially every team has sections of the fan base at the bare minimum that believe that they can be a playoff team next year. Mm-hmm. Boston, obviously the confidence is rattled a little bit after the retirement of Patrice Bergeron, but there is still hope that they can make it. Toronto, I mean, Jesus Christ, if they miss the playoffs. Sin, go ahead. It looked like you wanted to say something.
Well, I was just like, I thought you were going to say something else about their confidence being shaky. I'm like, yeah, but Bergeron retiring sucks. Also, that 3-1 choke job in the first round probably didn't help either.
Yeah.
Oh wait, a 3-1 choke job and it's not us? Oh my god, I was about to get like super wokey reaction like, dude, what the fuck? But I realized like, oh shit, Bruins. I'm gonna step back real quick. Just
Yeah. Not you guys this time.
Bruins.
Now that feels so different now. Now that I do it, it's like I'm making fun of them instead of like,
yeah.
Oh,
yeah, it sure is.
It's amazing how context changes.
Yeah,
that's great. We have.
This doesn't feel good, does it? Huh?
We have so much fun here, don't we?
Life is not what you thought it would be.
Fucking A. Oh, God. Anyway, Boston, certainly. People are like, okay, they got to be a playoff team. Toronto, definitely. Tampa, like, I know they've lost some depth, but I think people would view it as a disappointment if Tampa didn't make the playoffs.
Yep.
Florida Panthers, same thing. You're coming off of a Stanley Cup Finals appearance. And then you have the teams, the bottom four from this past season. The Buffalo Sabres. People are absolutely expecting them to make that jump to the playoffs. We'll get into it in our season previews a month or so from now. I'm not so sure. Like, they might still have some question marks, but it's the same story for Ottawa, as we just kind of talked about with their lineup. Detroit, especially with the money they've spent. You bring in Alex DeBrincat now via trade. And Detroit, they're certainly wanting to push for a playoff spot. And even Montreal, I mean, I would say that they are the most likely to stay in the spot they finished in this past season, which was last in the division. But there's a lot more hope and optimism surrounding this franchise now than there was not all that long ago. It might be on paper the most competitive division in the NHL because you don't have that one clear cut, this team's going to probably be garbage. Like the Metro, I think most people are expecting Philadelphia to finish last in that division. We'll see. Who knows? In the Central, Chicago is still likely to be terrible. I mean, who knows? Maybe Connor Bedard's a fucking wizard. And Arizona's in the mix too. And then obviously in the Pacific Division, you have San Jose that is still very much kind of in that rebuilding mode. I don't think there are too many Sharks fans who are expecting them to be significantly better than they were last year. Like, the goal is still for them to be with a high lottery pick for the next couple years, I would say, at this rate. So
I don't know what
like
the whole
I said,
going after Tarasenko thing was about then.
I just think value, right? Like, you get
I
Tarasenko.
think so too, especially because like this year's draft maybe is obviously not as going to be as good as this last draft. So it's like, hey, you never know. What if we make it, get some experience for our guys, or we flip Tarasenko? I don't know, but I'm expecting to see Bordelot and Eklund at least in the lineup this season. Like, so.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean that's kind of the stage that they're at now, right? Is the idea of, all right, we're getting our younger guys some playing time. And getting those younger guys a line mate like Vladimir Tarasenko is hardly a bad idea. And then again, you flip Tarasenko, if possible, a little bit later on and get some extra assets out of that. So I can see why it would have been that way. I'm kind of surprised Tarasenko, I mean, maybe I'm not, because it's like, okay, you're in control. You just decide I'm going to go to Ottawa. But, playing on San Jose, there's always that conversation of like, okay, someone on a bad team is always going to put up points. Like, that's just how it works. We saw those conversations with the Leafs before Austin Matthews showed up. And just the kind of surprise of like, oh, who was the leading scorer at the time? For example, the 2013-14 Leafs. Actually, maybe 2013-14 isn't even the best example because it was like Kessel, JVR, Kadri. There was one year in particular before they landed Matthews that was very, very funny. But maybe it's further back than I remember, because you had like P.A. Parenteau, who was really in the mix in terms of putting up points. Although 2014-15, I'm looking at it, Mike Santorelli was sixth in scoring on that Leafs team. For example,
God.
Like, if you're on a bad team, someone still has to put up points. It was 2015-16, P.A. Parenteau was second in scoring on the Leafs with 41 points.
And wasn't it like Nazem Kadri had like 54 points or something like that?
He had 45.
45.
As the leading scorer. But
God, that team was bad. That was like the perfect tank. It was like everyone's going. The fact that like Robidaw Island became a fucking term because of how bad that tank was is amazing.
So if you were to have had, say, for the Sharks, and again, this is supposed to be about Ottawa, but hey, it's fine. If you were to have had this for the Sharks, like, San Jose right now, Barabanov, Couture, Kunin, Eklund Hurdle Duclair. Yeah, sorry, Sim.
Fucking Coonan, first line, baby.
Yeah.
That's like the dude you pick up when you're when you're rebuilding in franchise mode, like because you have to hit the cap floor and you put him on the first line. And you're like, hey, maybe he gets a shit ton of points, gets some stat growth, and I could trade him for a pick.
He's the new Dinas Zubers.
Man, that's
to be fair, when Zubers played for the Sharks, he was incredible. Exactly what they needed.
See, I don't even remember that Dinas Zubas played for the Sharks. So.
I know, right? It's crazy. Yeah, he was actually really good for us. I think it was in 2016, I want to say, that year when they went to the Cup.
Huh.
Yeah.
How do you learn? How do you like that?
Yeah. He like played on and off, but like the cool thing about it is like he would play all up and down the lineup too. He was a really like good utility guy.
Yeah. To just finish that point, the second line is Eklund Hurdle Duclair. I feel like Duclair kind of fills that role that Tarasenko could have played of like, oh, here's a younger guy in Eklund who gets to play with
really
some veterans.
stoked that we got Duclair. Like that is so sick.
I'm not sure how happy he is after going to the Stanley Cup Finals and now plays on a team that could be dead last in the league.
Oh man, God, that reminds me of Dave Bolin winning.
I don't know.
Dave Bolin winning the cup with Chicago and then getting the fucking Toronto immediately after.
Like that's
everyone's
my
like,
thing. If sorry, Endo.
Yeah, and everyone's like, why the fuck is he coming here? And then he just shits the bed. God. Go ahead, Sid.
No, it's like, my thing is like, I thought he was pretty cool. And like, he was just a speedy dude, competed hard. I'm wondering like, if he didn't want to go to the Sharks, I'm sure he had other teams interested in him, right? I'd be shocked if he didn't.
Yeah. He is on the last year of his contract as well. So, I mean, I wouldn't expect Duclair to be a Shark in April, for example. So, time will tell. But, yeah, Tarasenko to the Sens. I don't hate it. But like I said, that division is so stupidly competitive that who's to say how it's going to play out. Now, when we were talking about Bergeron retiring last week, Sin, I kind of went down the list of like, okay, here's the guys they could get now to try and fill the gap, your Scheifele's, your Lindholms. And then I mentioned some of the pending free agents at the end of this upcoming season, one of which is no longer a pending free agent. The Carolina Hurricanes have re-signed Sebastian Aho, full 8 years at $9.75 million for their future captain. I would reckon. That's a damn good deal to keep him under 10 million. He would have gotten over 10 million on the open market for sure, especially again, as you always talk about the idea of the cap going up. Yeah. That's a big W for Carolina.
Hell yeah. We'll see if the cap actually goes up, but yeah.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah. When are they going to find out if it's going to happen or not?
Arizona's like, fuck, we need a new pandemic. Can afford these guys.
Jesus.
Arizona becomes ground zero of the Kachina virus.
Well, we have an episode.
Yo, Kachina virus is so fucking funny.
Yote fever is across all of North America. It just causes sports get shut down again.
The Kachina virus. Well done, Endo. Well done.
I'll be here all week.
Wanted to mention that that Aho signing in Carolina, because like I said, I talked about what the future was for the Bruins, and it's a little bit more clear now because their two players that went to arbitration have signed. Jeremy Swayman had gone to arbitration. The team was looking for $2 million. He was looking for 4.8. They land pretty much in the middle at just under $3.5 million on a 1-year contract. And then, Sin, your thoughts? I saw that head shake.
Yeah, I don't know.
Future Shark, Jeremy Swayman?
Should have traded him to San Jose. Future Shark.
Shark?
Still future Shark. Probably not, but it's my dream.
Shark.
I mean, for Tomas Hertl, I would be interested because boy, can't the Bruins use someone like that. And then Trent Frederick also filed for arbitration. The team was looking for 1.4 million. He was looking at 2.9. And again, it kind of lands in the middle at 2 years, $2.3 million for the former former first round pick that when drafted, Don Sweeney was quoted in saying essentially, and I'm paraphrasing here, that he's going to be a great middle six option for us, because that's what you do with a first round pick, is you look for that strong middle six option. I do enjoy Trent Frederick though.
There's still time.
There is still time. That leaves the Bruins today with $400,000 in cap space.
Cap hell.
You could sign
Mitchell Miller again.
No. Hold on. Who was that? Who was our goalie in 2K? Who was making like 400,000? Simeon Varlamov?
Yeah.
It was just and like 7 shutouts, making 400,000.
And we'd call up players because we need to fill a roster spots, and they're getting more money than him to play in the minors. God, that's so cursed. I want to go back so bad, Tougie. I want to go back.
No, you do. Blame people for enjoying NHL 23 in July and August.
How dare you,
bastards!
How dare you? I should be playing 2K right now. How dare you?
Okay, Greta. Like, the Bruins are going to be heading into this season with the roster as it is, basically. I don't really know. Like, Mark Scheifele's making 6, Lindholm's making something similar. To pull off a trade, you would have to get rid of like the $3 million of Derek Forbort and somebody else, and I have no idea who that and somebody else would be. Even if there was like retained salary 50% on Scheifele in the final year of his deal, like it's just once you start getting into the conditions of a trade and it starts to sound like a video game, that's when you know it's like, okay, no, this conversation isn't really worth having because life is not a video game. Very rarely do we end up with an NHL trade that actually feels like it's a video game trade.
Yeah.
So the Bruins are going to be heading into this season with Pavel Zacha and Charlie Coyle as their top 2 centers instead of in the middle 6. That scares the hell out of me.
Yeah, so I guess it's confirmed Krejci's not coming back then, really.
You would think. I mean, yeah, literally they cannot sign somebody right now. I mean, the league minimum is $775, and they have $430,000 to spend.
Yeah.
So this is it. Like, this is their team unless they make a trade. And yeah, the last word that I had heard, this was about a month ago, on David Krejci. I'll check really quickly if there was any extra news. The word was a month ago or so that, you know, hey, he's not in a hurry to decide his future, and that he could do the Mike Fisher thing of just kind of hang out, and then if there's a chance for him to kind of join up with a team, that he could do that. He could play in Czechia again, like he did not this last season, obviously, but the season prior. It's a weird situation, man, because I look at like the supporting pieces of like, okay, you still have Marchand, you still have Pasternak, you still have Charlie McAvoy and maybe the best goaltending tandem in the league. And it's a team that learned, I think, a lot of lessons. Like, I would hope that once you get towards the start of the season that a lot of the quotes from Jim Montgomery are going to be like, we learned a lot, I learned a lot from the end of last season, because as we've talked about, he got it wrong in terms of who was in that lineup that was just a little bit too banged up to play at a high enough level to beat the Florida Panthers, especially in goal, not playing Swayman until it was too late. I don't know how optimistic I'm feeling, because I mentioned the idea, right? Like every season, we do our little season previews and kind of go team by team and how we think those teams might finish. I don't know if today, August 1st, 2023, that I could predict the Boston Bruins to be a playoff team next season. There's just there's some fears that I have in looking at that roster that
I
scares
think
me.
if you were in any other division, you'd not quite a shoe in, but you'd have very, very good odds. In the Atlantic, it's such a toss up because there's teams like we mentioned earlier, Buffalo, and the Senators are absolutely licking their chops to get a playoff spot.
Yeah,
and it seems like Boston amongst the other top 4 who were in the playoffs last season, or was it 5? It was only 4, right?
I missed what
Florida.
you said.
Is Florida? Shit. I don't know the East divisions. Was it 5 teams from the Atlantic who made the playoffs because of Florida, or are they in the Metro?
No, Florida's in the Atlantic, and yes, 4 teams from each division.
Okay. Anyway,
you had the Hurricanes, Devils, Rangers, Islanders, and then Bruins, Leafs,
Islanders,
Lightning, and Panthers.
Yeah, so it was like of the top 4 teams in the Atlantic division, you got to think Boston has the most question marks.
Yeah, so I mean,
despite Florida, losing Duclair and Kachuk.
Yeah, I mean, because
they have their identity now, and they know it works now.
Yeah, like the Bruins obviously are not going to win 65 games again next season. The Leafs, who we were going to talk about and we can bring up now, have announced that Matt Murray is going on LTIR. Speaking of the Sens Leafs fights online,
because many fights online.
The Sens get
the Sens get no cap relief whatsoever because they retain salary, but the Leafs get all the cap relief, and Matt Murray's contract will not count against them. That said, the Leafs, as of right now, are still $2 million over the cap, even with Matt Murray and Jake Muzzin projected to be on LTIR. So the Leafs still have to look at moving somebody out because you fucking signed John Klingberg to over $4 million. I will never understand how the hell he was able to command that much money. I will never understand that. My God.
It's all about Brad Tritt living in the moment, baby. You give him the money, you expect the results at the end. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, baby.
Endo's on one today.
Oh man, I'm so fucking tired. I'm just fucking spitballing right now. I'm like a hamster just going right now. Low life expectancy, but just going as fast as I can.
I would love to see the Leafs miss the playoffs and the Penguins to make it just so all those guys who are so dedicated to the crest only. And I was like, oh, you have to cheer for the Leafs. Fuck Kyle Dubas now. I just want to see them rationalize that. They will. I just want to see how they do it. But yeah, dude, watching Sens fans and Leafs fans fight on Twitter is hilarious. I keep seeing Neeler under Sens fans Twitter and shit. Yeah. He's just fucking
the best. Oh,
shitting on him constantly.
It's the best. It is the best. So yeah, I mean, again, that's just kind of the way to sum it up right now. The Atlantic Division is going to be a shit show. Again, Tampa, you would still expect them to be competitive. Then there's Florida, who made the playoffs by 1 point over Buffalo, which is why everyone's looking at Buffalo to be like, man, they only missed by a point last year. They could easily make it. And I don't necessarily disagree with that. It's going to be a weird season because obviously the standings are the standings. You know what's going to have to play out a certain way. It's just right now very, very difficult to predict. There were a couple other signings. I don't know if we'll have too much to say about these, but the Minnesota Wild signed goaltender Philip Gustafson to a 3-year deal worth just under $4 million a season. And I can't help but think back to the conversation about the Bruins. And it's okay, Allmark and then Swayman's going to take over and they're good. From Minnesota, they still have Marc-Andre Fleury for this next year at 3.5, which means Gustafson will be ready to take over. And then that kind of sets them on the trajectory for Jesper Wallstedt, the 20th overall pick in 2021, to take over once that Gustafson deal is done. So Minnesota's still in that super weird spot of kind of sort of cap hell because of the Parise Suter buyouts who count $14.7 million against the cap for both this year and in 2024-25. But it does look like in some ways they are set up to kind of do what they have to do moving forward to still be competitive and hopefully not waste the next 3 years of Kirill Kaprizov. And he's got 3 years left on that deal. And then after that, you start to think, like, oh, man, you know?
Yeah, so essentially they have 1 year to entice him to stay.
Yep.
Because these next 2 years are going to be tough.
Yeah, like they have a solid roster. I think they could be a playoff team again easily, but they can't go that extra mile of pushing the team over the edge with additions because they don't have the cap space.
Yeah.
So that's tough, especially, you know, we talked about it a lot. The modern NHL, Vegas winning a Stanley Cup going, oh, this player's available? Yoink, he's ours. Minnesota can rarely afford to be in those conversations without having to, you know, really kind of mix things around. And yeah, they're, again, another team that's in a freaking interesting spot. The Arizona Coyotes signed Logan Cooley to his ELC. There were a lot of thoughts that he was going to go back to college, but he will be either with the NHL or AHL team this season. We don't know yet. He can't go back to NCAA, though, now that he is getting paid. So I am intrigued to see. Right now, Cap Friendly has him penciled in as potentially their third-line center. I'm intrigued to see the Coyotes this year. Like, I know there's still so much about where the hell are they going to be playing in the future, but, you know, you still have Clayton Keller, who may or may not be the new captain. Barrett Hayton has turned into a really strong middle six center. I think a lot of people have kind of overlooked him because he was the 5th overall pick in 2018. And, you know, we're talking like Dahlin, Svechnikov, Kotkaniemi, Brady Tkachuk, and then Barrett Hayton, and then 2 picks later, Quinn Hughes. But I think he has turned into a really like defensively solid center. And then obviously now you add Cooley to that mix. Dylan Guenther's already on the team. I think, again, a lot of people will pick them to kind of finish dead last in their division, especially now that Chicago has Bedard. But I don't think they will be tragic, as people always seem to try to predict Arizona to be.
Yeah.
Oh, it's interesting to see him sign.
I feel like Arizona's going to be a lot more competitive than people think they're going to be. They did, you know, bolster up and actually have players who, I'm not going to say players who can play. They're all NHLers. Like, I'm not going to discredit them for their abilities and everything like that. But the support system that they have with some of the veterans they've brought in, smart moves. Getting Logan Cooley on there to, you know, play with the big boys, essentially. Smart move as well, because, you know, you can just send him up and down freely and not have to worry about, you know, stuff with the archaic system with the CHL player agreement, where if a player doesn't play 10 games, you have to sit him down in the C and you can't do anything with him for the rest of the year, unless you're like unless you're pulling a fast one like the Seattle Kraken did, and you figured, oh, Shane Wright, we can just have him up here, have him for a few games, send a conditioning stint. Oh shit, we can't play him there anymore. We're gonna send him off to go juniors, and then do that whole song and dance, and then have him come back for the AHL playoffs and play decent. I mean, yeah, he's had a crazy ass year in terms of
he's a bust. You should probably trade him to the Sharks. Carlson.
Playing in the N, playing in the A, playing junior, getting swept in junior, and then going back to the A. Like, that's a lot of hockey for a guy.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now on Elite Prospects. He played 8 games for the Kraken, 2 points. He played in the World Juniors as the captain of Team Canada, was point per game. Played 8 games in the AHL in the regular season, had 6 points in 8 games.
Yep.
Played with Windsor, 20 games in the OHL, 37 points, but like you said, lost in the first round of the playoffs, and then was with Coachella Valley in the AHL all the way to the Calder Cup final, where Coachella lost to the Hershey Bears. So,
yeah,
very season for Shane.
Fucking paid. Like, hats off to Shane. I mean, you grab some of the ELC money, not only from playing in the end, and you grab it from playing in the. I mean, you don't really get paid to play in the CHL, but you kind of do at the same time, it's like per diem or whatever. And then getting paid to play in the playoffs again, because you get a cut. Because the playoffs, you don't get paid like for showing up. You get a cut from a certain round that you're playing, and it's all paid out like a your team. But yeah, shout out to him for getting paid. Yeah. Funny.
The Anaheim Ducks have gone to arbitration with Troy Terry. The team has offered him $4.5 million. The player is asking for $8 million.
That's a small gap.
Oh man.
Yeah, we're a little bit.
Do you know if he has his own player agent at all, or is it just him? This could be a galaxy
that's-
brain move because he probably looked at like a chart and was like, yeah, these like analytic hockey guys know what they're talking about. I'm just gonna go like where exactly I want to go. I'm gonna go double that, so that way they just meet in the middle.
It looks like he does have an agency of KO Sports Inc. So he does have representation.
Okay.
So Troy Terry with the Ducks from the analytical standpoint, shout out to of course the old J Fresh cards. Like he is a legitimate first line center. He had a down year this past season, or right wing. I think both positions, primarily a right wing. But regardless, like he's a legitimate first liner. Like he had a down year on Anaheim, but who the hell didn't? That team massively underperformed. But he has put up 60 points in each of the last 2 seasons. 25 years old, will turn 26 in September. Again, looking for $8 million. Right now, the forwards that are signed to $8 million contracts: Ryan Johansson, Logan Couture, Jack Hughes, LOL, and JT Miller. Does he belong in that class? I would say yes. I mean, I don't think he's out of his mind for asking for that amount of money. And then obviously, you drop it down to, even $6 million, and then you kind of get into the conversation of like, well, Josh Norris got paid. I mean, Josh Norris is making almost $8 million a season as well. He's at 7.95. So I don't think it's unreasonable for Troy Terry to have asked for that amount of money. I would not be surprised if the arbitrator decides he is certainly closer to that $8 million as opposed to 4.5, which, holy hell, is that? It's just low. Like 4.5 million. You are talking about
Kevin LeBeck.
Yeah. You're talking about Michael Bunting in Carolina, Ryan O'Reilly in Nashville, Lehkonen, Mason Marchment, Brandon Saad, Mike Hoffman. Yeah, it's just...
Mike Hoffman. Remember when he was holding out for more money?
Yeah. Oh, and funny enough, there's one other player too making $4.5 million right now. Alexander Wenberg. We have to mention this because
are we talking about book? Oh no, we're talking about Booktok.
I don't know what this is, and I don't care.
I can't believe. Okay,
I'm not going to pretend to understand.
Listen. I'll say this briefly right now. I noticed after the fucking pandemic, people lost their abilities to just handle themselves not on social media but in person. The Booktok situation is so fucked. It is so fucked. A woman says, "Oh, I don't like the way y'all are sexualizing my husband. It's disgusting." And a bunch of little fucking idiots are like, "Well, we're the reason why your husband's team is successful." It's like, bitch, no, you ain't. No.
So to provide more context to what Endo just said,
God,
this is probably the biggest story recently of what's gone on in hockey for the past week. So
can you tell it's the off season? Can you tell?
Yeah. If you couldn't tell, it's the off season.
I saw a picture that said something like Brett Marchand.
Oh,
I didn't see that, so I can't comment on it.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about how this all
changing the
stemmed
name
from.
slightly.
Oh my god!
And writing their fan fiction.
To take it away, elaborate, please.
Okay. So the main story of this, most people have probably heard about this by now. So obviously this originates from TikTok, and I want to go shout out DavyJonesLockerRoom.com, which is a Seattle blog for the Kraken, which is a great fucking name as well.
Beautiful.
So this article as well is posted by Sky on Air, who is a regular contributor for them.
Sounds like an airplane magazine. Sorry, buddy.
Welcome to Sky on Air.
Tremendous. So here's the deal. So I'll just read for the verbatim. One of the many niche communities on TikTok is Booktok. Videos made by users or videos about various kinds of books and characters, stories they're in. One of the sides to this particular community is the ultra niche community of hockey romance novel TikTok.
It is not niche. I will say that right now. It is not niche. Polina had. I'm going to just interrupt quickly. Polina asked me, she's like, I was looking at the hockey books. I'm like, okay, what about? It's like, why do they all want to fuck so bad? I'm like, I don't know. I don't understand. Like, I don't get it either. She's like, well, I don't get it. I was like, she wants to read more hockey books, like like just about hockey, like novels and fiction and all that stuff, fan fiction or not fan fiction, but like nonfiction and fiction stuff, just to learn more about hockey. And every single one she picks up, but it's always like, oh, it's like some weird fucking erotic novel where it's just like stick on the ice, and it's just like the girl who wants to fuck the hockey player, like upside down backwards, like fucking Iron Sheik, like Jesus Christ, it's nuts. Go ahead, continue.
The Booktok community does something called face claiming.
Oh yeah. Oh man.
Sin's reaction is beautiful.
Uh-huh.
Essentially assigning a real life person to a book character as though they were casting them for a movie. This is often seen in video games or the movie space as fan casting. It's essentially the same exercise. Anyway, Alex Wenberg at one point was face claimed for a character in a novel, and then it began to be noticed that Wenberg is in fact an extremely attractive man, where anything else sort of fell to the wayside after that. Now, here's the issue, is that the Seattle Kraken social media team, or the admin, whatever, kind of fan the flames on this.
Yeah.
If there can be said to be fairness towards the group who was involved, this bears repeating, systematically harassing Wenberg and his wife, is great. It's that they felt the Kraken were egging them on and gave them the impression that they were okay to do the kind of things that they would end up doing. The Kraken noticed their TikToks with Wenberg and got them noticed, so the people kept making them. Most of the Booktok posts were benign, high-quality pictures, videos of Wenberg at warm-up, slow-mo vids, the kind of stuff that's honestly normal, just hyper-focused on Wenberg because he's handsome.
Trap. It is thirst trap videos. I'm getting all like hand motion, like video, like essay kind of thing. Thirst trap.
So it's just
basically
fan
what it
cams.
is. It's fan cams. It is.
Yes.
It is basically the Seattle Kraken. Like how social media is like, yeah, nice, like, oh, it's so cool, bestie, or like how the Seattle admin would like show off their crystals randomly during games, like, oh, we're going to the OT, gotta rub my crystals, or what the fuck, like that kind of shit. And it's just like really getting hyper fixated on Alexander Wenberg and basically honing into the whole thing about him being basically fan casted as a character in a book. It gets bad. It gets really bad.
So the Seattle Kraken gained a shitload of followers on the team account on TikTok, thanks to the niche community. And really, it's a niche community within a niche community. The Kraken even flew one of the largest creators in the space, Kiera Lewis, to a late season game and presented her with a Booktok jersey. This led to more Wenberg-based posts, more engagement, more followers, and a slowly but surely degradation of the kind of comments and videos made about him, from simple admiration to something a little bit more crass and more specifically crass and direct.
Is there the quote of like one of the TikToks in which she said referring to Wenberg? Is a quote there? Sure. Okay. There was a quote. I'll say it right now. There's a quote. This whole thing got super crazy because she says, "I want him to start cracking my back."
Yeah. So she had a sign that said "crack my back" at the game, I believe.
That's fucking hilarious.
It is.
Oh my God.
It is. But the best part is the best part is yet to come. Like, keep going, Tougie. This is ridiculous.
The TikToks being made about Wenberg over time became far more sexually charged. It's not necessarily new, but where it began to become uncomfortable was that Wenberg began to be tagged directly in these posts. At some point, they went from tags to direct messages. Alex's wife, Felicia, has presumably been shown these direct messages, posted a very thoughtful request regarding these kind of messages, essentially asking them to stop or think about, what they're doing in regards to, can you not tag my husband directly in these? Can you not directly message him?
Just bonk, go to horny jail. That's it. Bonk, go to horny
Basically.
jail. Yeah.
The Kraken's TikTok account did pretty much delete all of the things in regard to this. But essentially, the reaction from this community once the Kraken deleted the posts was that many of them felt they were used by the Kraken to gain followers and notoriety on the platform.
That's honestly fair.
Yeah, in a sense. So this led.
Oh man,
God,
it gets worse. It gets so much worse.
Let me fucking hear it.
Yeah, God, I'm sorry.
I'll make that decision.
It's it gets bad. Keep going. I'm gonna shut up.
So there are some quotes here from some of these replies. The article leaves out some of the more egregious ones, but essentially the idea is people were pissed at the Kraken. People were pissed at Alex Wenberg's wife, and essentially a good amount of harassment began. A lot of people using the hashtag #CrackMyBack in responses to Instagram posts. There was one here: just because you're a wag, wife and girlfriend, doesn't mean you can come for people who thirst over your man. Team #CrackMyBack. Nobody wants your man, especially if he's too weak to put you in your place over stupid jokes. Calm down.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay.
Yeah. Others accused Felicia or Alex Wenberg of cheating, which, isn't true. God. So there was a video of the original person, I think what was it, Kiera Lewis, requesting that Wenberg and his teammates, quote, score on all 3 of her holes.
God.
Yeah. Alex finally ended up having to say something to kind of back up his wife and just say, like, hey, the fuck is the best way to kind of paraphrase this. And it is, like this article points it out, it is very rare for an NHL player to say something in regards to anything like this because of the media training. It's like, nope, you just you don't say a fucking thing.
Yeah, he even mentioned that in his press. He said, like, we're supposed to like bite our tongue and everything, and just not really say anything, but like I really have to talk about this. This is making me super uncomfortable and everything. And I think the worst part about it is that Kiera Lee then turns and says that like Felicia Wenberg is racist and how this is like a bunch of racist stuff because it's attacking her of all people. I'm like, you're stepping over a line. There's one thing about being a public figure. There's one thing about being like, someone who's kind of like a quote unquote a celebrity or someone who's popular in media. But there's another point of like sexualizing that person to like the nth degree. You have gone off the deep end 100% over here. And like if it's little things like crack my back, that's funny. But going over, scoring all 3 of my holes and like go over crazy and all that stuff, like that, I don't know, it's gross. That stuff's kind of disgusting.
Yeah, when you start harassing like their significant other, like it starts off, it feels like it's in jest, but then don't get to the. You got to understand objectification and consent. Like that's fucking important.
Yeah, it's just a really fucked up story that I don't know if it would have caught traction if it wasn't in the off season. But yeah, there's just so many different aspects to it of the idea that Kraken's social media kind of fanned the flames a little bit. And then once they pulled back, these people went, no, fuck you. We're not going to be used by you to... Like, obviously, the people... Like, I understand if some involved are like, hey, what the fuck? You said this was cool, and now you're backtracking. But then their response, and the response of people in that community to go, we are going to now further harass the Wenbergs. It's just so incredibly fucked, and it just shows just
some weird mob mentality. And I'm sure it's not even most of the people who enjoy that kind of stuff. It's always a couple crazy loud people who fuck it up for everyone.
Yeah. First it was they were horny, and now they're horny and mad.
Yes.
Those two, that's bad. Where's the spray bottle that I usually have on my desk? Damn it. Just, no, bad. Terrible.
I feel bad for the Wembergs at this point, and hopefully, staying. I mean, not that someone should be forced to have to stay off of social media to not see the fucking harassment they're on the receiving end of, but at that stage, it's like, okay, hopefully they're just, kind of avoiding this as much as they can now at this point. You hope it doesn't take a fucking further step with someone who's completely off the rails in terms of the harassment that is out there. You hope that no one fucking takes it a further step because they're just that unhinged and mentally unwell. It's just a really fucked up story, and it's to the point where I saw the hockey guy made a video about it, and people were like, "Oh no, Shannon! It's bad enough that Shannon has to comment on it."
He's like, yeah. He said the best part is I saw a screenshot, and it's just him with the fucking whiteboard with the and they're just like his hands out like this, just like kind of like gesturing. It's like, oh, this is so good.
So, yeah, again, I recommend DavyJonesLockerRoom.com. The article's there if you want to kind of read it in full. It's the internet's fucking weird, man. The internet's fucking weird. People are weird. Fuck. Just, hey, here's the thing. Is there a way to acknowledge that someone is good looking?
Yeah.
Of course there is. I joke about it on stream all the time, where it's like, there'll be a play, like we'll see a random player in the ECHL that no one's ever heard of. It's like, God damn, that guy's handsome. Last night on stream, someone talked about Erik Karlsson, and I had to Google image search Erik Karlsson, and the first fucking picture of Erik Karlsson that shows up, it's like, holy shit, can you save some good looks for the rest of us? I'm fucking drowning at the bottom of the pool, and here's Erik Karlsson being praised up by the good-looking pods. Fuck. But at the same time, there is a line between that and potentially, being like, oh, hey, yeah, I can imagine Erik Karlsson as the lead character of this book, or at least someone that looks like him. To then sexualizing that's a whole nother step. But then to go after that person or their significant other is just a whole different fucking thing. Like, people just need to touch grass. You got to go for a walk sometimes. You got to do it. If you're just sitting here too much, you're on the phone too much, you can drift too far. You got to get a dog. Get a dog. That way you'll have incentive to go for a walk at least like once or twice a day. If you live in an apartment, maybe 3-4 times. Who knows?
Stop it.
Get a dog.
Get some
That's
help.
the lesson from this story. Get a dog. Fuck.
All bark.
Anyway,
no bite.
to end the show, Rocky Wirtz died. I put a little bit of an addition to the end of the last show.
Pack watch.
I put an addition at the end of the last show. Because Endo's just gone. To kind of mention the passing, because Sin and I had recorded in like 10-15 minutes after we were done. Like, the news was out, like, oh yeah, he passed away. So I kind of put, the basic thoughts that I feel like most people will have out there. Again, I can't speak for Sin or Endo, but the gist of it was he will be remembered very fondly in Chicago for, again, saving the team from his dad that was stuck in the 1970s. Again, still not having Hawks games aired on television in 2007, unless it was a nationally broadcast game, because the thought was, oh, you won't come to our games if it's on TV. He saved that team. He brought the team a lot of success. But again, as most people will think too, his legacy is going to be remembered by his last few years and the Kyle Beach saga. And that is what it is. Like, and again, you can't not talk about the nature of someone's life. You can't only talk about the positives and only talk about the negatives, because that's not doing diligence to someone's story in life. And that is what it is. Again, for as many positives as he, brought to the Hawks as the owner of the team, the success that they had. Outside of Chicago, for the most part, he will be heavily remembered for his role, his response, especially. That was the big thing I mentioned, was the Mark Lazarus town hall question, where he snapped Mark Lazarus. He talked down his own son, Danny, like he was a small child, and saying, no, you will not answer that. We will not answer that. Those are the lasting images a lot of people are going to have for Rocky Words.
As they should.
Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys...
But if you want, we could ignore all the bad stuff he did the same way he ignored sexual assault for a decade.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
we
I mean,
that.
Sin, he didn't know.
Yes, he
did. The people he employed knew, but they didn't tell him. So I mean, that's...
do you realize how he's so controlling? There's no way he doesn't know stuff.
Yeah.
If he's gonna get credit with turning around an entire team, you got to think he's in the mix. If he gets credit for turning around the team and doing all and having this big hand in that, then he knows about other stuff, and he has a hand in pretty much fucking everything, and that's displayed by just how fucking controlling he is and sounds.
100%.
Yeah.
Telling his 50-year-old son, or however the hell, he's at least 40. Shit, he's at least 30.
Danny Wirtz is 46 years old. Yeah, he was in his mid-40s.
He was a child, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care. I won't. I guess I won't necessarily piss on his grave, but I'll shit on his life. Get fucked.
I mean, my big take from it was just the idea, like, I'm not happy to see that the guy's dead.
Yeah.
Because the preferred outcome of this, as unlikely as it is, was that in the next year or two, whatever, he gets asked about it again and gives the answer that he should have given, with the proof of, hey, you know what? Yeah, my response was wrong. We learned. We did fail. Oh, well, I can't put the team. I'm the owner, and legally I can't put us in the... Fuck all that shit. Fuck all the, we can't put this team into further legal trouble, as if you can't afford it for proper payouts. And at the end of the day, it's your fucking fault anyway. You are liable in this situation. It's just one of those things where it's like, that would have been the preferred outcome, is here is a person actually owning up to their mistakes.
Right.
Especially when that Mark Lazarus town hall meeting, it was the idea of, hey, here's the opportunity for you guys to say what you've done. And instead he just immediately dismissed it, which was the problem that people had, of course. It's not the preferred outcome. And again, it sucks, again, for the idea of friends, family, again, it's one of those things. I get the idea of people being like, oh, you can't say anything too early because you want to be sympathetic to people. And yeah, you do. But at the same time, his legacy is his legacy, and it was his choice.
Yeah.
Like, it's not as if people are assigning this legacy to him without merit. So, with that, gentlemen, we will look to wind things down. This has been the Tougies Take podcast, the Kachina virus. It has to be the episode title. That was bravo, Endo Mills. That was
brilliant.
Thank you.
Phenomenal.
I'll be here all week. I'll be here next week.
Yeah, we will be back next week. Because again, we're still doing one episode a week for now, because otherwise we end up talking about Booktok for 20 minutes. Because
fucking hell.
Nothing else to talk about. In the meantime, gentlemen, what do you got going on? Sin, what's the story?
Oh, I should be getting my new fucking work computer this evening, so I'm really excited about that. I'll actually be able to record stuff again.
Nice. What'd you get?
New Mac.
Return of the Mac.
Thinner. I don't fucking know. And everyone's like, PC. I like Mac because, for one, Final Cut doesn't work on Windows. I'm trained in Final Cut. Adobe is fucking bullshit subscription based. I spent $300 for a lifelong license on Final Cut. I'm not paying monthly.
There you go.
Fair.
Yeah, and it's better for music editing, and I'm also used to it because I've been using Mac since I was a kid.
That's right. Ever since we had the computer labs with the N64 light colored bubbles.
Oh man,
for the
those
computer
fucking
casings.
Oh, dude, we had just a plain gray Apple before they even had the name Mac. We had an Apple. The first iMac we had was those like dome colored ones, and then we got the one that looked like the Pixar lamp with the screen.
Oh my god! Oh my god! I have one of those. I legit have one of those.
Yeah.
It's somewhere in my storage in the basement, but it's just crazy. I just remember that, and I tried. It's funny. I tried to get Pro Tools to work on that because I wanted to make music, but it was a Power PC, not like an actual like chip before. But like, yeah, it couldn't work. Anyways, yeah.
For anybody who is a child, the iMac G3 is what you want to look up. Those were the glory days of, at least for me as a kid, going to the computer lab, learning how to type. The iMac G3.
I like the handle on the back, like you're gonna one hand that fucking thing around.
Well, the GameCube has a handle, so I went with the iMac.
Yeah, dude, I used to play so much Warcraft 2 on that thing, man. Oh,
fucking swing it around and smack your friends with it. Talk shit, get hit, bitch.
That was back when technology could kill people, like just from blunt force. Not even like
I will beat you over the head with this iMac.
Nokia phones, iMac G3s.
Oh my god, I visually remember.
PC towers have looked the fucking same for decades now.
I vividly remember playing Melee, and my cousin took his brother's stock when they were playing team. Was it just team stock match? He took his stock as he was about to die, so he had one more left. And right before he died, he took his stock and he legit unplugged the GameCube and smacked in the fucking head with it.
That's kind of troubling, man. I'm just gonna say that. How's that guy doing? Is he in prison?
No, he's fine.
Oh,
is he?
Yeah, he's actually a lawyer.
That makes sense. There's a lot of sociopath lawyers. So.
Oh, they were rowdy kids. We were a bunch of rowdy kids, Bebe's kids, almost essentially. But yeah. Anyways, stuff that I'm doing this upcoming week. I don't fucking know. I want to do NHL stuff, but it's August 1st. Everyone is making NHL stuff because it's all scheduled tweets being like, "Hey, NHL 24, when's it gonna drop? Did we all forget? Yeah, we did. Okay, cool." And then everyone just repeats the exact same rhetoric, and it gets all the views. I hate that. I hate the fact that I hate posting the same shit as everybody else. But that's how the grow.
Get the engagement. Yeah. I'm not a huge You're not gonna really see me being like, oh, the community tech test. Here we go. Like, it's just not. Something I'm gonna like. People know. People know, and
it's my year.
Yeah. I will say one thing. There is something that came out. The Blue Jackets put out a video. I'm gonna let people search for this because I'm not gonna say you can't put it up on screen because it's a clip of it. There's a video out there where the Blue Jackets visited the EA headquarters, and there's a lot of footage there. I will say that. That's it.
So fuck it. I'll talk about it really quickly. And I sent you a text, by the way. It's one of those. Basically, they go to the EA headquarters, and again, this is the infamous video where I haven't met the guy, Michael Toomey, who is a big part of EA and helping decide roster. He's not the only one that helps decide the roster stuff. AKA my arch nemesis. I hope to get to meet him someday, hopefully soon. And it's one of those things where they joke with Matthew Olivier that his fighting was set to rarely instead of often. How the fuck do you think they found out about that? This guy. Do I get credit? No! But you're welcome. Mike, I look forward to shaking your hand and having rational conversations about Timbits and whatever else Canadians talk about. What else do you talk about?
It's just about how they're gonna give Vancouver all the best helmets at the beginning of the game, and then say "fuck you" to everybody else in the league. That's it.
Yeah.
Bro, their ECHL team has good helmets in that game, and everyone else's is just ass.
It's true. So for me, it's still unfortunately probably going to be a lot of NHL franchise mode on stream, just because people are fucking loving it. I don't know why. I mean, we are doing a really fun series right now. Funny enough, I accidentally loaded up Be a Pro for the first time earlier today, and I started poking around. It does look fun with like the FIFA like skill trees and stuff like. Am I being
You've never
debated?
played it?
No, I haven't played it once this year. Swear to God.
Yeah.
Have you played it in 3 years? Yeah.
It's great.
I haven't played it like ever.
It needs
Okay.
more. And if you've never played the story mode, then you'll at least like all the cutscenes and stuff. But once you've done it once, the replayability sucks. You can't turn off the cutscenes. You can't skip them.
Every time. It's just pricey pawn hockey you got there. Every fucking time on repeat. I can't stand that.
That's where that meme is from. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't know. I just thought you were making fun of the outdoor rinks in Eschel.
Yeah, it's a blast. Like, you know, I really do enjoy being a pro, and I'm hopefully looking forward to some very, very improved gameplay so I can actually bring it back like fully on my channel again.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, brother. NHL 24, make or break.
Make or
As
break.
Make or break.
I'm sorry.
I want to
Andrew.
look back to last year.
You're a
and see if
lovely
you made
guy.
a tweet like that.
I
I just
you're a
want to see
lovely
how
guy.
many people make the same tweet every year, because I no one can remember, and that's the advantage. Like, no one can fucking remember this.
Yeah,
That's
just that idea of like, oh man, like, oh, it's got to be a big year. It's my year. It's a make or break year for the. We'll all be back here next year. Let's not act like we won't be. We're all gonna be here next year, no matter what.
Yeah, knows that too.
But I do think NHL 24 is gonna be a pretty good year. I do. Dun, dun, dun. Thank you all for listening, watching, supporting the show. We will see you all next week. We love you. Goodbye. And don't get the Kachina virus. And how do you avoid the Kachina virus? We'll have to put out a guide.
I don't know. I haven't found out myself. I mean, I have shoes that Kachina like stuff. Yeah. I should probably ask Deekslayer. He's probably the best way of getting rid of the Kachina virus. His fucking city voted against it. His city voted against it, said he avoided the Kachina virus. So they're good.
Oh, God, fucking ebook. Like the fucking Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. How to avoid what to do if you contract the Kachina virus.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like the zombie survival guide, only cooler.
Yeah.
yeah, and in a smaller arena. And
That's
potentially
why-
in Utah.
That's why they don't want to relocate. The Kachina virus will spread faster.
If they go to Utah and someone gets the Kachina virus, will they interact with the draft?
No, they'll just give it to all the
vaxxed in Utah, so fuck.
They'll give it to all the fucking Mormons. And in 10 years, they'll have just a bunch of fucking Mormon hockey players.
They believe in something that's verifiably not true, and then they don't. All right, sorry.
I'm excited for the future where there's 12 NHL players named Joseph Smith. We'll see you all next week, everyone.
Ebediah.